have I got a plan for the show?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to lie. This is probably the loosest one.
Yeah.
So I've got nothing. Have you got other things you want to speak about?
There's a couple of things I can mention, but I mean, to be honest,
You got nothing.
bit hungover. Don't really know what's going to happen. Don't know what we're going to talk about. Welcome to the podcast.
Nice. Yeah.
How's your week?
It was good. I got a tooth extraction yesterday.
Sweet.
It's
Sweet, dude.
I'm not gonna lie, that was rough, but it was worth the. It wasn't worth the wait. I'm just happy it happened. It was so painful, but that was good. What about yours? Anything? Get up to much?
Got pretty drunk last night.
Oh,
Welcome to the podcast.
I don't know what button I pressed that made that happen either, which is worse.
Yeah,
You got drunk last
yeah,
night?
pretty drunk last night. I'm a little bit hungover.
You go to a
but it's all good.
comedy
club. Yeah,
How was that?
it was a mixed bag. The host was great.
That's good.
A bad comedian and a good comedian. So you know, what can you
So-
do?
so
When I
there were
say bad
two?
comedians, it is subjective. 2 comedians.
I'm so surprised that they did an hour, or were supposed to do an hour each. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in the world of comedy, like, it's somewhat like music. If you're starting off as a band, you play 20, 30 minutes. Like, 30 is a lot for a new band to play. But in comedy, it's less, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you get a slot for comedy, most starting comedians, they've been going for like a year or 2 years, they might have a tight 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So to hear that there was two people booked for an hour.
But then I think, like, because these were like professional comedians, like they're on the circuit there. Do you know what I mean?
How did they bomb? How did one of them bomb so bad?
I don't want to talk about it.
Was it immediate? Did they come on and straight away, like, was it a bad starting joke?
Well, I think it wasn't particularly helpful, but the host was hilarious. Like,
Sure.
the host of the show was absolutely, I can't remember his name, but phenomenally funny. And then when this person came on, yeah, it was just different. It was different.
So
It,
rough.
it wasn't very good, and there wasn't a lot of reception from the room.
Yeah, it's really brutal.
Yeah, it was painful to sit through it. Honestly, I felt bad. Like, I was like, I don't want to see anyone.
It's so awkward.
Get crushed
It's
like
so-
that. And a weird thing, right, as well. The place I went to was like Sub 89, I think it's called Sub 89 in Reading. Good venue. I'd recommend it.
Sub
Seems-
89. Oh, okay. They
it's
do
like-
music as well.
It's like next to. Well, it's like, I think it is Pop World. It's part of Pop World,
Right.
but it's like above it is the comedy club.
Amazing.
So it's like separate but same building. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, apart from Pop World, like afterwards they were like, oh, now you can go downstairs to Pop World.
Yeah. Not into that? No. Did you go downstairs to Pop World?
We went in because it felt like, you know, it was like a bit rude to be like, no. So we went in.
I think it's fine.
we danced for about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
No one got a drink, and then we left. But yeah, apart from that, Sub 89 was good. But a weird thing, right? I went to the bar at one point, right, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just walked up to the bar, right, because that's how bars work.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, accurate.
And then I got served, and then I realised to the right of me there was like a line of people looking at me like I had just murdered someone, and they were like queuing for the bar. But that's not how bars work.
That isn't how bars
That's not
work.
bars. You
No.
just walk up to the bar.
Do you know what?
You find space in the bar.
Yeah.
You walk up to the bar. You
Yeah,
glance left and right to see if someone was there before you, and then you go, I think they're waiting first. But the guy at the front of the queue was being served.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just didn't clock it. I just thought, I don't know, maybe
You're
they're all
just at a
together.
bar.
I don't know. And so, yeah, and then I just got served immediately. And then I looked around with my pint of Guinness. Everyone was looking at me.
Oh, that's There's another guy. There's two things that I'll yeah, I guess. So my initial reaction when you were telling me, I was like, he cut the queue. Like,
the bars don't have
Like,
queues.
hear me out. But you told the story, and I was like shocked. Like the Brit in me was like, oh my god, there was a queue, and he didn't join it. However,
Empty bar. I'm literally this.
Also,
but imagine
though-
this, right? I'm here, right? There's a whole, like, this whole table length, empty space. A whole table length to the left of me, empty space. So I just walked up to the empty. I just walked
No,
up to the bar.
And this was my second point.
And your man behind the bar said, "Yes, please, sir."
Yeah,
And I said,
yeah.
"Pint of Guinness,
Yeah.
please."
Like the bar transaction. This is the point though that I was going to say is that initially when you said, I was like, oh my god, how embarrassing, how awkward. But then it's like, no, you don't queue at a bar. You're completely right. There's never ever a queue at the bar. There's no place in England that implores a queue at the bar.
There is one scenario, right, and that is when it's so busy that there is no free space at the bar.
Oh no, yeah, sure.
In which case,
but it's not a single file queue.
No,
it's not tickets at a butcher.
No. You evaluate. You go. This guy looks like he's being served. I'm going to stand right behind him.
And then a new crowd
happens. And then immediately, as soon as that, like even before that person leaves, you're putting your body in there and you're in the bar.
100%. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, and I guess it's funny as well because I was speaking to a friend of mine from America who's just come over to England, and like, a bit of advice would be like, oh, we queue a lot here. Like, we love to queue. But if you're in a bar, don't queue. It's a free for all. But what's funny about that scenario is there's a queue. So someone has gone, I need to queue behind this person, and then obviously people follow. People will do what they see being done. But the fact that there's another bartender as well, and I love the fact that bartender's like, okay. I'm gonna clean some glasses.
The bartender is also like, well, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's so
you just walk up to the bar.
Because as well, if you went up and you went, there's a queue, right?
I'd be like, but
he was like, he was just in on it as well. He was just like, that's so funny. Wow, amazing. I've not been to a comedy night. The only time I've seen big stand, like we've seen Bill Burr. Like I've seen Bill Burr a couple times. So we've seen big shows where you're at like, what was that?
Yeah, well,
that was Royal Albert Hall, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've been to Live at the Apollo as well.
Okay, so again, that's closer to a comedy night, but it's a big, a TV production.
Yeah. Well, and it was like Tim Vine and lots of other. I can't remember the comedians that were there now. That's really bad.
That's fine.
But they're all big comedians, big UK comedians.
Yeah, the only time I've seen stand up live is at an open mic that I was playing musically. So it was like,
that seems a bit of a weird.
It was like band, singer. 5 minutes of stand up from nowhere to like a room full. And the thing with open mics, like if you're a musician, you either will know this or you've never been to one, and fair enough. Open mics are great, and I've always used them as an opportunity to try new material. Like if I've written a bunch of songs, I'll go and then like one song will get pulled. I'll be like, oh, that one song that you sung was really good, and then you know. So it's a good place to try material out as a musician. But the reason for that is because most of the people at the open mic are people playing at the open mic. So you don't have a room full of people that are there to find new music. You don't have a room full of people listening most of the time, but you have a room full of musicians. So you get really good feedback. But it means in that scenario, you have like everyone in the crowd has a guitar and they're just waiting to perform. So to then be like, hey guys, and they just come on and do stand up, it was the most brutally awkward thing I've ever seen. And then obviously you're bombing as well. Like I think I've said before, I think stand-up comedians are so underrated in their craft. People think that guy's funny, so he's a stand-up comedian, and they think it's this really easy thing that people do, and they don't realize that every second of a sentence, every beat, every pause is like this meticulously crafted thing. People don't realize that. So it's no discredit to the people. I mean, there's no chance that people would be watching, but if they were, it's not because you're a bad comedian, but you went up and you did 5 minutes in front of a bunch of people. There's no drink limit. Yeah, we were all there stone cold sober trying to crack jokes while we've just listened to Take Me Home Country Roads.
Even the best comedians on the planet will tell you they want their audience to be a certain amount of drunk.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and there to see comedy. I think is quite big too. No, I've been watching a lot of the World Cup this week. I know we spoke about it the first week before it happened, because it was like there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of dark things off the pitch happening, right? There's a lot of controversies. But the actual football's been so exciting. Oh my God, honestly, it's been so good.
Honestly, the last like two nights have been phenomenal. Like first with Japan.
Yeah.
Going through it was
the ball was in.
It was in.
The ball was obviously in.
Anyone that says it's out just doesn't watch football enough and just doesn't know the rules maybe. But obviously it doesn't matter about if you can see from a weird angle that there's a gap between the ball and the thing, because it's a ball is circle.
So and any part of it, right?
And it doesn't have to, and it doesn't even have to be over the line. It has to be touching the line. So even if you imagine the line going up from the edge of the line, like a line from the line,
from the
you put the line in a coconut, but the line going up from the edge of the line, if that ball, if you imagine it's a physical thing, if it's touching that thing, it's in. That's in play.
What annoys me is the pictures. Right, there's two things that annoy me. Everyone is posting that it should have been called out.
Well, it doesn't help as well that like most of the pundits and commentary team for the World Cup are just talking absolute rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that's true. It's all people with big egos that want to have the big splash. But my problem is, it's like Match of the Day, and all of these big like football groups that have hundreds of millions of followers are posting, being like, well, apparently this ball is in, and then they post a picture, and even in the picture they're posting, I'm like, I can see that that's in.
I will say though, devil's advocado here.
Yeah,
a lot of people are watching the World Cup that just don't watch football. That's what what the World Cup does. It's what the Olympics does. It's why every 4 years we all sit there and pretend we know what a good dismount looks like in gymnastics. Do you know what I mean? Like every single person watching the gymnastics at the Olympics will at some point go, "Oh, she's lost points there."
Yeah, she'll be gutted. She'll be gutted about that one.
And I'm like, look at me. I don't know squat about gymnastics, but it's what everyone does. And I think it's a lot of people watching football for the not the first time, but they don't watch it at all. They don't really know the rules. So.
But again, the people posting are your Match of the Day, are your Talk Sports.
Yeah, well, they're just trying to get the clicks.
Yeah, and they're getting them. It's true. Clicks. But no, it's been so exciting. And a part of me is like, okay, the World Cup. I know the World Cup shouldn't have ever been awarded to Qatar, right? Even take away the 1,000 migrant workers dying and all of that stuff. Allegedly, it's only 3 currently.
Apparently, officially 3.
So. But I love the attitude of the guy as well, who, when they addressed that, he was like, not all of them were World Cup. He's like, those were just regular migrant workers dying. They weren't even on the stadium. So
they're the migrant workers that we have all year round, regardless.
You have so many slave workers, they're gonna die. I don't know what you expect.
We're not going to build our own buildings.
It's a fair point. Get the white dirty, wouldn't they? That might have been bad. I don't know. Right. I'm just saying, you don't see people on the building site dressed in the amazing robes. No. But away from that, they don't even have, the reason why they're having to build all of these stadiums is they don't even have the facilities to host a World Cup. So you've got all of these countries that love the sport. And I'm not even talking about European. There's places in Africa that have massive stadiums and, millions of people that love the sport. That doesn't exist there. So that's why it shouldn't have gone there. When you have other places, people are talking about, obviously, the next World Cup is in North America. So it's between the US, Canada, and Mexico.
Is that not also stupid? We're going to have the World Cup in 3 locations.
I don't know. I quite like it. I don't know, because I think Canada, I don't think can warrant having a World Cup there. I think the States can, but then collectively, you look at Mexico, you look at America, you look at Canada, the one thing you can say is they have the facilities. They have some of the greatest stadiums
I would say
in the world.
Yeah, but America's a weird one as well, though, right? Because it's so big, right? So that they can host the World Cup, right? Mm-hmm. But there'll still be 1,000 miles between the stadiums. I
haven't seen what the plan is.
The beauty of a World Cup or an Olympics is that it's all quite contained. You know what I mean? Look at London Olympics. Mm-hmm. For the most part, as much as feasibly possible, everything happens in London.
Yeah.
You can get a hotel in London, and all the events you've got tickets for, whatever. I don't really know how the Olympics works. You can just within a day you can get everywhere. And even if you're going to watch the windsurfing or something, and you've got to get down to Plymouth, again, it's a day trip. You can still get there. If you've got the tickets to the World Cup in America, you're going to be bloody flying all over the place.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's no. That is a great point.
It's crazy.
I don't know what the map is, but obviously between Canada and Mexico,
environmental like issues and stuff like that. Not that but
let him play.
But what I'm saying
Let
is
him
that
play
like when that's like the big woke message at the moment.
No, it's a great
like,
point.
It's
Again,
meant why you have a World Cup where everyone is flying all over the country constantly over a 2-week period.
if they're not going to care about human rights violations in one country, I don't think they're caring about the jet.
It's unreasonable for us to expect FIFA to.
Yeah.
The moral.
Hey now, this has gone too far. I'm thinking plan. So I
also just quickly interject. Last night, again, this was before I got really drunk, so I still.
Oh, we're going to the comedy club.
No.
Oh, before.
Amazing seeing Luis Suarez crying.
It was great.
I don't want to speak ill of
It's
the dead.
What? He didn't, did he?
No.
Louis.
No. He hasn't been.
It's not that bad.
Again.
No.
But oh my god, I'm not a massive fan of Uruguay. It was payback from previous with the handball incident.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know they didn't win and get through, but they made sure Uruguay didn't get through. It was good. And it was just good. It was good to see.
It's tough as well because from like a mental health perspective, men cry.
Oh
right?
yeah, no, it's fine.
It's great to express emotions.
I'm not having a dig in full
I'm with
crying.
you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Hear me out. My point is,
it was pleasing.
and
to see.
my point is, it's like you don't want to see people sad.
Unless
There are some people that you're like because he's such an instigator, right? He's one of those players that exists to annoy people and get under people's skins.
How many other players, right, can you say this sentence, right? And the sentence is, I'm not exactly sure how many people Luis Suarez has bitten.
Yeah, he did bite a lot of people, didn't he?
He's bitten. I remember 2.
Yeah, because I think that's after 2. It was. What's this?
I don't know. This is
after 2. I think was when he then was like he went off and he just went into a village.
It was like the Catholic Church. She was like, we got to get this guy. We got to get this guy somewhere else.
Getting us a bad name. Yeah, no, it was good, and it was I don't know. I think I sent you the clip, but the Cameroon player, I vaguely remember the syllables of his name, but I'm not going to try and say it because I'll get it wrong.
Syllables.
Yeah.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't know.
Remember his name.
But I know what you mean. The
He had a great game. He got a yellow card earlier on, and then he scored this just a crazy goal. And even at that time, there was a chance they could get through, but I think they knew that goal didn't get them through. They still needed a lot more. But it was such a momentous thing that they had scored a goal against a perfect Brazil team. And then he takes his shirt off, and I just loved the interaction between him and the ref. Like he goes over, and the ref has his cards out there, but he like gives him a handshake, a pat on the back, and he gives him the cards, and the guy's like, "Yep," like he just knew what was happening. But I thought it was just such a cool send off for that team, and then real heartbreak to then watch the rest of the game that's happening elsewhere and realize they're not through. Because that's what happened with the Korea game. They finished theirs and they had like 8 minutes to watch, so they're all round.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I'm just loving this World Cup so much. If England don't win it, which we've got Senegal tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then we have either Poland or France. So
everyone
enjoy the Senegal game.
I'm not sure if we can beat France, and then even if miracles do happen, we ain't beating Brazil.
Yeah, we would need, and I looked on their half. You're like, okay, you've got Brazil.
Yeah,
that's it.
I also
have Brazil.
I just feel it in my loins that Southgate's going to go over back 5 tomorrow.
It's
going to be mind-numbingly painful to watch.
Here's my problem, right? Whenever, and this happened the Euros last year, it's probably happened before as well. Whenever, as a football fan or any sport fan, but particularly the England team, whenever you start looking one beyond or 2 games beyond, so we're like we'll beat Senegal, and then we've got this tricky France, Poland. Either one of them can be tough. We're going to lose to Senegal.
Well, no,
that's what's going to happen.
This is the thing, right? Because I think Southgate will start setting his team up in his preferred defensive.
It's the US game of like, let the game happen.
And he'll do that against Senegal to prepare for France and then Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The problem is with that, Senegal, they're not going to have any strategy beyond this game.
Yeah.
This is the biggest game they've
had
in
they're
ages.
playing 100%.
So they're going to come out flying. Absolutely. They're going to be like, we probably won't get through. We're not favourites. So they're going to come out and absolutely just run 100%.
Yeah.
I fear Southgate's going to be ugh. He's going to be pissing around, right?
Oh, no flannels in here.
Trying to set up this
Yeah.
stupid back five, right? And we're not going to get through.
No, yeah, it's a worry. But
It's a concern.
let's see what happens.
But
I am aware that's probably been about 15 minutes of football talk. So, and here's the problem. We have some people that don't care about football. We also we've had submissions from around the world. I don't know how many people listen because I've already said in the last episode, there's kind of a disconnect between those that are submitting to get their music played and those that are listening. Those are two very separate groups. So if you've submitted to get your music played, stick around. Here's some new bands. Some of the bands that we've played previously, I'm now following as well. I'm seeing, and this is genuine, they'll do live streams on Facebook and I'll tune in and listen to. They're releasing, one of them just released a new Christmas song. Some of the bands are releasing EPs now. So I'm finding new music. We're playing enough different music as well that some of it may not be your cup of tea. But
I like it as well because I'm someone that I don't really actively seek out new music.
Yeah, because it's hard.
Well, and also I feel like it's because there's such a huge catalogue of amazing albums and artists that I grew up listening with that I feel like no matter what mood I'm in, I've already got go-to albums, go-to songs, go-to like artists. But I'm loving this because it's like it's forcing me to like find new music.
Yeah,
and also like non-mainstream music, which is
100%.
I think it's good.
These people that are going through the same journey as us of like, I want my music heard, I want to see what people think. They're taking the feedback on, which I appreciate as well. From my side, whenever anyone speaks to me about my songs, I'll listen. And particularly, this is random, as I was saying with open mics. I've played open mics before where some drunk dude who doesn't play an instrument is there listening to musicians, and he'll come up to me and he'll be like, that one song that you did, and he'll like sing a bit of it back. Like, that's one of the catchiest songs I've ever heard. That's the feedback I want. If he came up and said this was a bit crap, that's the feedback I want, because those are the people that are going to hear your music. Like, not everyone's going to be a musician. So I appreciate that people have had a great attitude to getting heard. People have had a great attitude to having our feedback, because who are we? We're just two guys listening to music.
Yeah, and I'd also say just in general, not just with music or whatever, just with everything, take feedback with a pinch of salt, whether it's good or bad. Do you know what I mean? Because inevitably it's subjective. It doesn't really matter. If someone says that was amazing, it's just as useful as if someone says I didn't really like that. In that it's not really that useful. It's just nice to know what people think, but it actually doesn't matter. It
feels like it loops back to the biggest lesson you'll ever learn as a musician will be from your worst gig. Yeah. Right. You play a show that's terrible, you've probably learned a few things. You've learned to get a tech rider sorted. And you'll know as well. You'll know when it's terrible. Yeah. You'll be playing and you'll be like, oh my God, I want this. Oh, we know. I want this to be over like immediately. Before, I think we're quite close to just listen to some music. But before we get into that was one thing that I was going to ask you, because a lot of the people, I went through submissions. We have loads. We still, like, I think I worked it out that we're probably sorted for the next 6-7 months. So I'm going to go through the first people that sent music in. I don't know if that came up. Maybe. Who knows? Slow-mo replay. No, so we've had a few people that I've been going through. I'm going through them almost chronologically. However, I'm trying to separate genres. So if there's like a run of 5-6 acoustic artists, I'll do one a week. So we're kind of going through them that way. And we'll get into that. But the one thing I was going to say, the similarity between the people that are applying is level. They're all people that are at 100, 200. Like, some of them have more. We have a few people that have much bigger followings that are submitting their music to play, which is really cool. What is your biggest learn? I know the first episode we spoke about being a new musician coming into a band, but what do you think are the things you've learned about gigs that we're playing now? Because I think as a band, our attitude has changed massively from the first gig we booked to now. Yeah. What do you think are the things you would pass on? If there was a group like us that are like, let's be a band and rehearsing and getting together, what bit of advice would you give to them for booking their shows next year? So 100% I would think about what you need to play. Think about what you need to be able to comfortably play a gig. And what I mean by that is, like, are you in a position? Do you have amps you can bring? Do you have like all of the equipment you need? If you've got a drummer, like, can you transport drums? If the answer is no, then that goes on a list.
if the answer is like, well, we don't have amps, that goes on a list. Make sure you've got everything you need to play that you can't bring with you.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's on a list, and make sure you've got that tech rider good to go for any venue, so that you can go, okay, well, we'll play here, but can you accommodate us? Can you accommodate this? And also maybe look into a bit of history if they've got like reviews from places, like how did it sound? How do people generally sort of review the gigs that have happened at this venue? Because again, one of the worst things you can do is go to a place that just has notoriously bad sound, or doesn't have a sound engineer, or
a promoter that's not going to pull their weight.
Promoter that, exactly. And because I would say that there's very little benefit apart from if you're literally just starting out and you just want to get some confidence and stuff like that. I think there's absolutely zero benefit to going to places that just can't facilitate that, and you can't put on a good show, because it's so demoralizing when you play that gig in a place that just is not set up for it.
100%.
It is, and people will say it didn't sound that bad and stuff like that, and it's like, it might not have sounded that bad, but you know what I mean, when you're up there playing, it's not as good as it should be, or whatever. And then completely separate from that, like, you're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are going to be made up there while you're playing. It happens. I think every band makes mistakes, and what I would say is that 90% of people don't even know you've made the mistake.
Yeah, for sure.
They
100%.
don't even know.
100%. I love, so your number one is a tech rider, basically. And I love that, because what that's saying is that if you're working with someone, so the problem is when you start a band, you're so keen to get shows. All you want to do is book shows. And if you have 10 shows, that feels like success. And to be honest, if you're a new band and you book 10 shows, that's pretty good. However, there's a chance that you could turn up and 9 of those shows aren't worth your time. And a lot of the time that will be tech. We've had it before. We've had gigs where we've booked and we've said, what's the drum kit going to be like? It's a venue, loads of bands playing, there'll be a drum kit. And then the night before or 2 nights before, you get that email, oh, by the way, you do need to bring down a full drum kit. And you're like, we've not planned for this at all. We've not budgeted this. So we're going down. If we're getting paid, we've not budgeted it. Maybe we're doing it for free. But yeah, that tech rider. And again, if you're a new band, it feels cheeky. Like, I've spoken to people before. They're like, oh, do you have a tech rider? Like, I didn't know if I should have one together. It feels cheeky. But all you're saying is, we know how we can put a show on. We need to make sure that you can facilitate that too. And that happens before you book the show. So if you reach out to a promoter and you go, is there a slot we can play? And they go, yep, it'll be supporting this band. You can do 2 things. One is have the actual tech rider and say, here's our tech rider. Can you facilitate this? The other is, it could just be an email that says, we can bring amps. However, is there a drum kit? Or would we need to bring up? You just need to address it straight away to go, this is what we can bring. Do you need to? I think my one that I would throw into the ring for advice as well. We've had this before we played our first show. As a band, I guess we were a bit different because a couple of, like myself and Arash, have quite a lot of gigging experience. So we're not new. We're not completely new to the industry. So we had the ethos that every gig we would book will be worth the time and or money. But every show we play should be worth it as a band. And we've had that standard and we've held it all year. So there's been times where...
Apart from our very first gig.
And this is a great point. So I don't want to out... We won't
out locations.
I don't want to say promoters. I don't want to say who, because again, it could have just been a bad night. But even that, I would say, and we'll look back, but I would say that was worth it for us. So our first ever gig as a band, we booked a few close to each other, but the first one we played was, let's say, it was over a 2-hour drive.
It rhymes with...
No.
Well, there's got a lot of places.
But on what we've played, there's not.
Yeah. Okay.
But we went to a venue. It was a long drive. It was kind of, met up at lunch, did this drive, and by the end of the day, we were at the venue. The sound wasn't good. It was our first ever gig, and we brought the most amount of people to the show, and that amount of people was 2 people.
Oh yeah.
There was no one there.
And this was going to be one of my other points as well. Is that when we're saying like don't play places that have no value, I mean that there is nothing more like demoralizing than playing at an empty venue
100%.
where the only people that are at the venue are the other artists.
Yeah.
They're just sat there watching you.
And I think the problem with that is that we had the promoter for that night, I think, either hadn't promoted, or the other two bands who were both local bands. So we had driven, 3.5 hours or whatever.
Between 3 and 9 hours.
Yeah. Between 3 and 3 hours 40 minutes. We had driven this long way and played our first show, and we had a really, I would say quite tight for our first show. We'd been rehearsing for 6 months, but the other two bands were from the area, have driven 10 minutes to get there, and haven't brought a single person to listen. And that's for all of the artists are playing in an empty show. So from my side, what I'd say is that's a great example of it probably was worth it for us, because that gave us...
It was a learning experience.
It was a learning experience. Yeah. It was our first gig, so we kind of got all of the cobwebs out. And then like a week later, we played a show in Reading that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we had loads of people in, and the standard was high. But we had already learned lessons about, okay, the sound wasn't what we needed. There was a separation, I think, as you were saying, some people will say you sounded good, but from the audience side and the stage side, those are two very different things. So sound could be good for the house, but if the band aren't hearing themselves, and they're literally... That show, we were staring at the ground. Everyone was just focused on finishing this set.
I mean, I couldn't hear my vocals. I couldn't hear your vocals.
Guitars.
I couldn't hear anyone's like instruments. It was a nightmare.
It was bad. But we learned something from it, and we wouldn't play that again, right? So if there's a show where we're getting booked and it's 3 hours away, the only way we're saying yes to that show is that we know for a fact it would be worth our while. That may be that there's a performance fee, so you may get X amount for playing. It's worth your while. There may be a guarantee on how many people are there, right? You may have a big band that you're playing with, so you know that tickets are going to sell, but always have something back. So you can play one of those shows, but if you book 5 or 6 of the same show, it's not worth it. So I think that's the biggest thing I would say. Just have your value.
It's better to play once a month in a good venue with good good people, good sound, than it is to play twice a week when you're crap setups and
100%.
But I think they're all good points there.
Absolutely.
I think the other thing to point out as well is when you go on about like the tech rider and being demanding of your promoters and stuff and venues, it's not arrogance. Like you can kind of feel like it's arrogance, but it's not arrogance at all. You're ensuring that you sound good, which is also good for the promoter anyway, because it's like promoters don't want crap performances at their venues, because obviously that just looks bad for them, and then people go, I'm not coming here again because the bands that play here are crap.
100%.
Right? So it's good for them too, but it also does give you an air of professionalism.
100%.
All it is like it doesn't matter how big you are as a band, it's showing that these are our standards. We will not perform a show that we know is going to be below the standards of what we want.
And off the back of if you send over a tech rider, or you say we need this to perform, can you provide it, and they can't, great, you've learnt that you can't play that show. So it's always better to say no to a bad show. People think that you collect shows, and I think it's the excitement. Like right now as a band, we don't have anything lined up for the next couple of months. I'm speaking to promoters in a couple of different locations, but they've been really honest conversations. So I've for example, a good one is we're looking to book a show in Bristol. We have got a number. I know how many people I can bring to Bristol. It's a few. It's not a lot. Our bassist has people in Bristol, so she'll bring a few. But we've been really open with the promoter we're working with to go, look, here's the situation. We can sell out a venue in Reading. We can bring lots of people to London, maybe some to Southampton. Bristol's a new location to us, so we're thinking we can bring the number maybe 10 for whatever it is, and they've gone, okay, cool, yeah, perfect, let's pair you up with people that are the right genre. Let's pair you up with bands at the right size, get you on the right part of the bill to make sure it's worth our time, instead of them just going, oh yeah, I've got a show on this date, and we go down and it's not worth it. So yeah, I think that honesty is absolutely key. Have that standard. If you lose a gig because you're trying to make sure your sound is at the right standard, then you've done yourself a favor. But no, I think that's really key. I think if bands have that attitude, and we've had situations, again, not going into specifics, but we've had situations with promoters where we've been booked with a set of agreements, we've been booked with a standard of show, or whatever the case may be, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, that changes, right? Maybe they just decide that they're going to change the bill, they're going to decide that they're going to change the setup, and in that situation, you need to have your worth. You need to know your band is worth something. You can't be kicked around by a promoter, and have that standard. If it's not worth you doing, then don't do the show.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not being prima donna as well when that happens. It's just, again, the professionalism goes both ways. Do you know what I mean? If a venue has gone, okay, cool, yeah, we want to play, booked it in, this is the arrangements, this is the setup, then that is what should happen. Within reason.
100%.
Like if there's a valid reason, then yeah, maybe there's an exception. But if they start messing you around and stuff, you've just got to go, okay, cool, we just won't do it. Thanks for the opportunity, but that's fine.
Yeah,
it no longer falls in with our plans and our expectations.
And usually those conversations will be quite revealing. We've seen.
Oh yeah.
When they start going a bit crazy,
you'll know the slightly juicy promoters.
Yeah.
When they come, it's like some of the homeless people in Reading when you say you haven't got any change on you.
Oh yeah, one of them called me a fat C word before,
yeah.
and that was 3 years ago. And every time he asked me for money, I'm like, "You called me a fat," and he's like, "Did I?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
And I'm like,
okay.
and I'm like, "You're not wrong." But
Yeah, but it hurt my feelings. Come on, man. Yeah, so let's listen to some music. I think that'd be quite cool. So we've got 3 submissions again from various places. I've just realised, and this is unintentional, that all of these are from the UK. I have tried to not have that be the case, because we got submissions, literally, name a country.
Ghana.
We don't have any submissions from Ghana. It was ballsy. We're covering about 7 countries. So I really hoped you would say name a different country.
Zimbabwe.
No.
Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
No.
If you
have we got any in Africa?
Can I be honest with you? I don't know. It's a great question, and I'd love to play. That's cool. That's South America. No.
Oh, I'd love some African submissions.
Oh, where's that?
Great.
Could be. Search Google. South America.
Okay.
I'm excited to listen to somebody South American.
Italy.
Yeah. Bunch from Italy. Tel Aviv.
Ooh, Tel Aviv what?
Who's Aviv? Oh, that's so funny. Right. Yeah. No. Okay. Cape. Oh no, New Jersey. Right. Okay. So we don't have any from Africa. We have an entire continent that hasn't submitted. But no, we've got.
So this week our sort of like British Empire roots have come up today, and we're all UK focused.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we could invade some music from Africa. That's absolutely fine.
We've done enough to Africa.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Right, so let's jump into this. Our first submission. I'll give you the name as per usual. Had some feedback. People like that. A couple of people have said they like the guessing what the name is. Andy Barker.
Andy Barker. Okay, so that's just artist. Andy
Artist
Barker.
is Andy Barker.
So so I'm thinking. Without knowing the genres, these are tricky because I'm thinking at the moment it's either going to be like an acoustic sort of situation going on.
Situation.
What?
I love situation. An acoustic situation. That's a great band name.
That is a good band. Acoustic situation.
Or an album, maybe, for Newton Faulkner or something.
Or it could be completely rogue. This could be like some sort of like dubstep sort of thing. But I'm going to go acoustic. I think it's going to be kind of quite folky.
Okay.
Quite
I like
chill.
Let's.
Bit of a Ben Howard vibe.
You pushed enough. You want to trade your kindness in. it becomes a miss. Beware the cynic's kiss. There's no time for this. No regret is matter over mind. We must forget the lost we left behind. There's no one to impress. Don't need a second guess. We won't settle for less. I wanna be that superhuman.
But that's when I have to pause it because I hit 30 seconds.
Ooh.
I love it.
I like it. I liked it already.
Yeah, it sounded really good. I'm trying to think of...
He sounds a little bit like Jarvis Cocker.
Oh, I was going to say a bit Dylan-y. Just a little Bob Dylan-y.
I got Pulp.
Bob Dylan-y,
vibes.
but not... like, Bob Dylan's very...
I just want to point out that it wasn't acoustic.
It was acoustic,
It
yeah.
wasn't,
Folky.
It wasn't just acoustic.
I think he's... I think it looks like very... That song was called Superhuman Me, Save the World. So I think it's talking about some environmental stuff.
You say Save the World. Literally, as I was listening to it, I was like, this sounds like it could be like in Smallville or something.
Yeah. I loved it, which is not annoyed me. I always say it annoyed me, but that little switch there was great as
Yeah,
well.
no, I know what you mean when you say it annoyed me.
Because I was like,
we cut it.
Pause.
Maybe
Maybe that's good though, because here's what people will do. Check out Andy Barker. What's crazy, I went onto his Instagram and I was looking at him and I was like, I've seen this guy before. He is from Reading. And I scrolled down and he's actually where I thought I had seen him. Lovely little open mic at the Butler in Reading.
Oh.
Run by a good friend of mine called Nicole. He's there. So I think I've actually seen this guy live. I didn't realise that at all when I put him on this. That song is wicked. I think it's good that we've cut out, so hopefully people will go and listen to this because it sounded really, really good. Superhuman Me, Save the World by Andy Barker. I've got nothing to add. I thought it sounded great. The mix was pretty good. I don't know if it's self-recorded. It sounded quite big for a self-recording, but then the vocals maybe sounded like they could have been self-recorded, so I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. If it was or wasn't it sounded great. It sounded like raw.
He's got loads of songs as well. So he sent over a myportfolio.com link, which I've not seen before. Is that what this link is?
Oh, don't open it on the screen, dude. What it's like? What we're getting debated?
Follow link.
It's full of porn.
No, okay. Yeah, so if you go to andybarkermusic.myportfolio.com or head over to his Instagram, he has a link there of love and protest songs. They sound great, so that's awesome. Thank you so much for the submission, Andy. That's it's a really good sound. I like it. So our next artist is a Marble Elephant. I say a. The artist is called Marble Elephant.
Marble Elephant.
What do you think?
Oh. Do you know what? I have absolutely no idea. I think it's going to be quite kind of indie hippie. If that makes sense.
Indie hippie.
Hippie.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
What does that? Yeah, is that like a skater? Do you know like I was gonna say that.
No, okay.
From...
I think it's like a bit more sort of like indie, but kind of like with a bit of a artsy approach to it.
Okay, I'm gonna cut over to what we're listening to here. They've sent us a YouTube link of a song called Forever. I'm gonna put that on the screen now. See if you have a look. That is very indie artsy. I would say that bit is. So they've asked us to go from 40 seconds. So let's go.
Completely wrong.
That's a mess. Yeah, you missed that one.
I'm very confused.
Yeah, okay.
Here's why.
Okay.
That song is incredibly chill.
Yeah. And hype.
Really pleasant to listen to.
Yeah.
But also is like
Yeah. I
don't know whether to like gently write into my diary about my thoughts or if I want to like punch a horse. You know? That's That's the emotional roller coaster.
I felt like I was playing a do you know when a new console comes out,
Yeah.
and there'll be a game that's like really futuristic and it's never been done before, and it'll be like an indie game, like is it Edge Runner? What's the parkour game? Not Free Runner. Something Runner. There's a parkour game I'm thinking of.
I
It's
know
like a
what you're thinking of. I can't
futuristic
remember what it's
parkour
called.
game. That's what I felt like I was playing on that. But sounds
That
great.
was good. That would definitely go on like a chill playlist.
Production is way higher than anything we can
Of
achieve.
100%. That is like, yeah,
Yes, it's really good.
crisp. Yeah, really good.
Really good.
I'm completely wrong with my artsy indie guess, but that was
I just lost my mouse stems for
Pretty
ages.
good,
So this
pretty
is
good.
Marble Elephant. Check them out. So they're drum and bass DJ producers based in Devon. So that's
Devon.
probably where they get their chillness from. Because I hear that's a chill place. I was going to say this is a couple. I just mean as in like it's a
two
man
people.
and a woman. Yeah. Is it a man and a woman? Yeah.
Just 2022.
Are they a couple?
Fine.
This is like siblings or dating.
Oh my
It's
god!
like-
I hope they're not.
It's like
siblings.
dating or DJ partners. I didn't know that was a... Yeah, okay, cool. Amazing. That's a great sound. We got one more. We're going... I was about to say over the seas, but we're going to Ireland. That's over
It's
it.
over the seas,
Hey.
over the Irish Sea.
A bottle of rum to fill my tum. That is the life for me. We're going to a band called Nightshade.
Ooh,
What have you got for me?
Nightshade. They're Irish,
They are Irish.
so there's a jig. No, Nightshade.
Sorry,
Okay,
I
that
accidentally hit
didn't
play.
actually
But
spoil
no, it
anything.
doesn't spoil anything. I actually remember checking this out.
Although that little tease you've given me, I'm thinking.
I know where my heart would go with this.
I'm thinking like along the lines of like gorillas or something.
Yeah, see that 0.1 second that I just blasted there. I
give it
think
away?
I hear it definitely doesn't. But that sounded like it would go on to like a Kasabian song.
See, that's the other option.
Yeah,
That's the
something
other
like-
option. But I feel like it's either like
But he's Irish.
like gorillas sort of like
Galway.
funk to it, or Kasabian. Hit me.
Suppose you all know how to use one of these things, but in case you don't, you just press down on this lever with your thumb and then pull the trigger.
I'm living
Oh my god.
and dying to get underground. I'm losing the hours by counting them down. I'm in
That's 30 seconds.
Do you know what?
What are
It
you gonna?
kind of
I have
was.
something.
It kind of was Kasabian-y, but in the completely
And
different way that we
gorillas-y.
were expecting, and it was a little bit gorillas-y. And I want to say a tiny little bit of an Irish jig.
Do you know what I heard with that? First off, that was wicked. That
I
intro
kind of-
was
yeah, the
so
intro,
long
yeah. No,
that
it
I
was-
was like,
it was good.
I was like, where is this going? And then, do you know what it felt like?
It subverted my expectations because that's why I was so surprised and I laughed. Is because I was thinking, I was like, as it was going, I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be like heavy metal.
Yeah,
here or
yeah.
something.
And then it comes in with this really like dreamy.
And I also, for a split second, I thought the first lyric was just "ow."
Ow, I've been shot in the face.
That was really interesting.
Do you know what that sounded like to me? I felt like I was watching, and this has to be taken as high praise. I thought I was watching a Quentin Tarantino film.
Ooh,
Do you know what I mean? Like a really
the intro,
a shocking
like, yeah.
something shocking happens, and then just this really dreamy, nice bit of music came in. It felt a bit Quentin-y, a bit Tarantino-y. So, and that
Feety.
if anyone's upset by that praise, then I was going to say go F yourself, because that's, he's famous for his good use of music on screen. So yeah, that was Nightshade. I'm just quickly having a look. No, they did provide social media link as well, at this_is_Nightshade. And he lists himself as a lo-fi folk producer. Galway. So that was awesome, though. That's such a cool sound, and it's very like, I don't know. It's there are some inspirations that you can hear, but I think he's carved out his own.
Oh yeah.
His own little sound there, which is really, really difficult to do. So yeah, some videos looking just so Irish. Look at that! Look at that Irish guy with braces. He had are they flat caps? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So amazing. Thank you so much for the submissions this week.
Top submissions
Great
this week,
artists. I always, when we post, I always put one of them. I just pick randomly one of them, but I'm going to struggle to do which one.
You might have to just spin a bottle or something.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a bit fair.
That's true.
But that was good. All good submissions there.
That's awesome. I love this. See, when we were talking about doing this show, we weren't sure.
I honestly, to be honest, hated the idea of it, and now we're doing it. I love the fact we're just like listening to all of these really good artists.
I have to listen to more
like,
of that guy.
It's like even if like no one else is watching this podcast, I'm just having a good time listening.
100%. Amazing. I would love. So we've had a few comments. We had a few people. I had a couple people message with perfect albums as well.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know if that could be maybe a what's it called? What's the thing where it happens? Reoccurring segment. Reoccurring. Not just a one-off segment, but a reoccurring segment. This is from a guy called Sean B from Southampton. It's Shawnee Boy. He said, "Can you guess what artist he would throw out first?"
Kings of Leon.
No, Vaccines.
Oh, good.
So he said, "What did you expect from the Vaccines as a perfect album?" Now, I have to hold my hands and say I've not listened to the album in its entirety.
It's a really good album.
So I might do that before next week. But yeah, let us know if you have any perfect albums that you think of, because they are my favourite thing to discover. I'm just trying to think of where that lands. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add. Obviously, one call for action. If you want your music listened to on the show, tough, because we got so many submissions, but there will be a link on our YouTube. There's a link on wherever you're listening to this. If you're listening to the podcast version, go to our page and you'll be able to find a link there where you can submit our music through a Google form. It may take a few months now to get to, unless it's really, really unique. And the only reason I say that is just because I'm trying to mix up genres, so we're not listening to the same thing each week. But yeah, definitely submit your music. Drop a comment, maybe. I don't know. You're supposed to do those call-outs, aren't you?
Well, you're supposed to say like and subscribe and all that crap, but do whatever you want.
People have been. You know what? A few people subscribe to the YouTube channel. It made me feel great. So thank you. Thank you for that.
We're doing this because we want to do it, and it's fun.
And I want to get that guitar string sponsor. It's still fresh on my mind.
I mean, like, we're not here to like farm views and farm subscriptions. So do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah. Maybe comment if you have any questions.
I don't care in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, like a positive not caring. Like how
you do you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Don't do me. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I've got anything else to add.
Great.
Kanye West is
all
sorts of batshit crazy right now.
There's
that's all I was gonna mention. As I was gonna say, have you seen his interview with Alex Jones?
No.
Oh man, it's a doozy.
I saw a clip.
Let me put it this way, right? He's wearing like a balaclava sort of thing, like for the whole interview, right? He says stuff that I'm not gonna say what he said, but let's just say when Alex Jones is sat there going, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy's crazy. When Alex Jones is the most sane person in the room.
Yeah, you got to check yourself. It's really interesting. There's two things to say. One is that I feel like there have been interviews for the last 5 years of other people that know Kanye West being like, he needs support. Like he's coming off his meds, and when he comes off his meds, it's not good. So he needs some support. So I don't know. It's a bit sad to me that people are focused on that and not focused on lots of other things that are happening in the world that aren't great. There's a lot that's flying under the radar, but we're looking at Kanye West, or like Matt Hancock in I'm a Celebrity.
I only bought Kanye West because it's music related.
But Kanye West as well, I saw a clip of Bill Burr from like 4 years ago. And he's like, Kanye West saying some crazy things. He's saying like his biggest regret in life is that he'll never see himself perform. And Bill Burr years ago was like, you put that confidence in a white guy, and then he starts loudly speaking German. I don't know if you sent that to me or if it came up.
Yeah, I think I sent it.
Basically saying that, you know, if someone had that level of confidence as a white guy, they would be Hitler. That came full circle. I guess Kanye West felt a bit inspired.
Dude,
But
you haven't seen the interview.
I saw a video of him talking, and Kanye West was saying, "Devil's avocado again." He's obviously gone through a lot. He said a lot of crazy things. I don't know. I don't know what's happening behind the workings. But he did do an interview that was like, I was tied up in a contract, $1 billion contract, with a company that I don't want to work with. There's a lot of stuff going out about Balenciaga, the fashion company, how they are exploiting children and things like that, really dark. But he was saying in another interview that he was like, you know, people would have to spend millions going to court to get out of this contract. I did it with one tweet. So he's like, you know, I'm free now from that contract. So I don't know. Devil's avocado, maybe, because I've always been told throughout the last few years when Kanye flares up, there's always someone who's like, he's a genius.
Okay, well,
Maybe
now,
genius.
right? Do you know the German dude? You know, from the 1930s to the mid 1940s, who was, you know, quite powerful. You know that dude?
Yep. I think I know who you're on about.
Kanye West is a big fan of him.
See you next week.
Rest in peace, Christy.